Rap Shit. Few show cancellations in recent memory caused as much noise as Rap Shit. Created by Issa Rae, this comedy series captured the hustle and heartbreak of two Miami women, Shauna and Mia, trying to build a rap career in the digital age. Unlike typical music dramas, Rap Shit focused on authenticity, showing how social media could both make and break artists overnight. Its main characters were both flawed and magnetic, and they certainly carried the series with effortless chemistry. The writing balanced humor and realism while giving a nod to the everyday grind of creative women of color. When HBO Max launched the show in 2022, it seemed destined for cult status. By season 2, the storytelling grew stronger, the tracks were better produced, and the visuals painted Miami in good light. Then came the sudden cancellation in 2024, announced just weeks after the finale. HBO blamed cost-cutting and strategic realignment, but fans weren't convinced. For them, Rap Shati wasn't just a show. It was a space where Black women could see themselves as ambitious and brilliant. Even Issa Rae expressed frustration, hinting that the network never gave the show the marketing push it deserved. But despite its short life, Rap Shit represents what happens when authentic Black creativity meets corporate short-sightedness. And whether Netflix or another streamer revives it remains to be seen. But for now, fans continue to quote, remix, and rewatch, while keeping the memory of Shauna and Mia alive. Sweet Life, Los Angeles. Being one more show produced by Issa Rae, Sweet Life, Los Angeles was supposed to redefine reality television. It followed a group of Black millennials in South LA as they balanced ambition, romance, and friendship. It wasn't really about scandal. Rather, it was about success, self-discovery, and the highs and lows of modern adulthood. The show felt refreshing because it portrayed young Black professionals with style and honesty. There were no stereotypes, just real people growing, struggling, and building legacies. From the first season, fans connected to Tylen, Gerald, and the rest of the cast. Social media loved them, and clips of their heartfelt discussions about relationships and entrepreneurship often went viral. The series was proof that Black reality TV could be aspirational without losing its edge. Yet in 2023, HBO Max abruptly canceled it after 2 seasons. The decision confused everyone. That's because reality TV is inexpensive to produce, and the viewership numbers were solid. Critics had always praised its unique lens and noted how rare it was to see affluent, educated Black 20-somethings on screen. When the news broke, fans flooded Twitter and TikTok with disappointment, calling it another example of networks discarding Black-centered narratives. For many, Sweet Life wasn't just entertainment. It was a good representation of the LA dream filtered through real voices. The unfinished storylines like Tylen and Jalen's romance only deepened the frustration. In the end, one could come to the conclusion that Sweet Life exposed how quickly Hollywood can pull the plug when the story feels too niche. The good news is the cast still have a strong social media presence, even after the cancellation. Riches. When Riches debuted on Prime Video, it felt like Black luxury had finally gotten its spotlight. Created by Abby Ajayi, the British drama followed the Richards family, heirs to a multi-million-dollar beauty empire. At its core was Nina Richards, played by Deborah Ayerindi, a daughter returning home after her father's death to face power struggles, betrayal, and corporate warfare. It was a story of wealth and Black identity, told through sleek cinematography, sharp dialogue, and unapologetic confidence. Critics compared Riches to Succession and Empire, but with more soul and cultural depth. It was an exploration of what happens when success collides with legacy, and it showed Black affluence without apology. Fans loved its bold portrayal of ambition and family politics. Yet, just as it was building momentum, Prime Video canceled it after 1 season. According to the show's executives, the reason cited was limited audience engagement. But fans argued the real issue was poor promotion. Unlike other Prime hits, Riches never got a strong marketing push despite its critical praise. When the announcement was made public, Ayerindi shared a heartfelt Instagram post thanking viewers and urging them to support Black storytelling. "It's incredibly important that you use your voices," she wrote. The message struck a chord. Many believed that with better visibility, Riches could have been Prime's flagship drama. Instead, it became yet another reminder that even when Black stories are glamorous and intelligent, streaming platforms often fail to nurture them for whatever reason. Today, Riches lives on as a once glossy gem that deserved far more shine. The Get Down few shows captured Black culture like The Get Down. Directed by Baz Luhrmann, this ambitious Netflix drama explored the birth of hip-hop in 1970s South Bronx through the eyes of young dreamers. The cast included Shameik Moore, Jaden Smith, and Justice Smith, all delivering breakout performances. The show wasn't just entertainment, it was art. Each episode mixed music, politics, and street poetry, while also honoring the origins of an entire movement. With a reported $120 million budget, The Get Down was one of Netflix's most expensive productions. Critics praised its vibrant visuals, powerful soundtrack, and deep social commentary. But behind the scenes, tensions brewed over delays and budget overruns. After one stunning season split into 2 parts, Netflix pulled the plug in 2017. The official reason given for this was high costs and creative differences. Yet many fans believe the show's unapologetic blackness and political storytelling didn't fit Netflix's evolving image at the time. Since then, The Get Down has achieved cult status. Music lovers still celebrate its portrayal of graffiti, DJ battles, and resilience in the Bronx. It served to educate us that hip-hop's creation was not just about beats, it was about survival. Sadly, its cancellation left us wanting more. Today, The Get Down remains a beloved relic and a visual anthem for the streets that birthed the hip-hop movement. Run the World Stars' Run the World was a celebration of sisterhood and ambition. Set in Harlem, it followed 4 best friends navigating love, careers, and self-discovery. The show felt like a modern answer to Sex and the City, but with Black women unapologetically leading. Its creator, Lee Davenport, crafted a story full of style, humor, and emotional honesty. Each episode showed that Black women could be successful, vulnerable, and joyous all at once. The cast included Amber Stevens West, Brescia Webb, Corbin Reed, and Andrea Bordeaux, and they blended very well on screen. The show got praised for its authentic dialogue, fashionable aesthetics, and portrayal of friendship that felt real and empowering. Yet after 2 well-received seasons, Starz canceled it in 2023. Sources cited programming shifts. No doubt, this explanation was vague, but fans knew what that meant. Another brilliant Black-led show had been cut short. Many viewers pointed out that Run the World filled a massive gap in television. It was a joyful, sophisticated show about Black women thriving instead of merely surviving. It wasn't trauma porn, it was life, laughter, and love. But despite the abrupt end, Run the World remains cherished by fans. It was refreshing, elegant, and real, and that's exactly why it should have lasted longer. Star. When Star premiered in 2016, it was meant to continue the success of Empire. Created by Lee Daniels, the show followed 3 young women, namely Star, Simone, and Alexandra, forming a girl group and fighting their way to fame in Atlanta. With heavyweights like Queen Latifah, Brandy, and Patti LaBelle among its cast, Star blended drama, music, and grit in a way that felt both familiar and fresh. The series also dealt with addiction, fame, trauma, and the price of ambition. It was raw, emotional, and full of incredible performances. Ratings were strong and fans were invested. But in 2019, Fox shocked everyone by canceling it after 3 seasons. And this came right after a jaw-dropping cliffhanger finale. Daniels himself admitted the decision devastated him and that he tried to find another home for the show, but couldn't. The cancellation was especially painful for both fans and cast, because for them, Star was more than entertainment. It was a story about Black women navigating the cutthroat world of music on their own terms. It showed vulnerability and power in equal measure. Many argued that if the cast had been white, or the tone less unapologetically urban, it might have survived. Years later, Star remains one of the most glaring examples of a show that had both audience and heart, but little to no corporate support. How to Die Alone. Natasha Rothwell's How to Die Alone was a bittersweet blend of humor and humanity that hit differently. Following her breakout as Kelly on Insecure, Rothwell's new project promised to dive deeper into the kind of awkward, real-life vulnerability rarely seen in Black women on TV. The show centered on Melissa, a woman forced to rethink her life after a near-death experience. It wasn't loud or flashy. Instead, it was reflective and quietly funny. Fans praised it for breaking stereotypes while portraying loneliness and growth with tenderness and honesty. From the first episode, How to Die Alone felt like something special. It explored anxiety, self-worth, and the messy middle of adulthood. It balanced awkward comedy with emotional realism, and fans loved how it gave a voice to anyone who felt invisible. It especially showed that starting over doesn't always mean doing something big. It could simply mean choosing to live differently. Yet despite its promise, HBO Max canceled it after one season in 2024. The announcement was sudden, and this meant the show would never be given the time to find its full audience. HBO insiders whispered about programming cuts. However, Rothwell remained gracious, thanking viewers for supporting a show that told stories often left untold. Her response resonated deeply, especially among women who saw themselves in Melissa's quiet struggles. Ultimately, How to Die Alone was more than a comedy. It was an introspective look at the modern Black female experience through humor and heartbreak. And its early cancellation felt like a missed opportunity to expand the emotional range of Black television. Black Cake. Black Cake was one of those rare series that felt like poetry on screen. Adapted from Charmaine Wilkerson's acclaimed novel, the Hulu drama explored secrets, identity, and diaspora through the story of Eleanor Bennett. She was a Jamaican woman whose death unravels a lifetime of mystery for her children. With a stellar cast that included Adrienne Warren, Chippo Chung, and Mia Isaac, Black Cake weaved themes of migration, love, and resilience across generations. The show stood out for its unique cultural scope. It didn't just tell a Black story, it told a global one. Through flashbacks, audiences were transported from the Caribbean to the UK to California, tracing how one woman's choices shaped her family's destiny. Critics called it visually stunning and emotionally transcendent, praising Hulu for finally greenlighting a Black drama with such depth. Then, just as word of mouth began to build, Hulu canceled it in 2024. The decision blindsided fans who had only started to connect with its layered storytelling. Official statements cited limited continuation plans, but many saw it as another casualty of streaming consolidation. Its cancellation stung because Black Cake represented something television rarely attempts: a diasporic epic that honored the complexity of Black history. But irrespective of its short run, it served to bridge generations and geographies with authenticity. Bel-Air. Bel-Air wasn't just a reboot, it was a cultural experiment that could have worked if only it was given more time and resources. It started out as a viral fan trailer reimagining The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air as a gritty drama. This caught Will Smith's attention and eventually became Peacock's flagship show. When it premiered in 2022, fans were skeptical, but within weeks it became clear that Bel-Air had found the perfect balance between nostalgia and reinvention. Jabari Banks stepped into the role of Will Smith with charm and emotional depth, reintroducing audiences to a familiar story with new layers. Carlton was no longer comic relief. He became a complex portrait of privilege and mental health. Vivian and Philip Banks were reimagined as modern Black success stories with flaws and grace. The series turned what used to be sitcom punchlines into heartfelt commentary about class, colorism, and Black cultural identity. By its second and third seasons, Bel-Air had developed its own rhythm, becoming one of the few reboots that truly stood on its own. Fans loved its cinematography and soundtrack. So when Peacock confirmed that Season 4 would be its last, the disappointment was immediate. While 4 seasons isn't tragic by streaming standards, many felt the show still had more to explore, especially as Will's maturity and identity continued to evolve. Critics even agreed that Bel-Air had set a new benchmark for reboots done right. However, its conclusion feels less like failure and more like premature closure, a goodbye that came just when it was getting good. Even so, its impact is undeniable. Bel-Air had successfully transformed a 1990s classic and made it relevant for a new generation. Our Kind of People. When Our Kind of People debuted on Fox in 2021, it promised high drama, sharp fashion, and unapologetic Black sophistication. Inspired by Lawrence Otis Graham's book, the show dived into the world of Oak Bluffs, a wealthy, historically black enclave in Martha's Vineyard. Starring Yaya DaCosta, Morris Chestnut, and Joe Morton, it explored family rivalries, identity, and class tension among America's black elite. The series had everything: secrets, scandal, and social commentary wrapped in glossy visuals. The premise was bold. A single mother enters this tight-knit world to reclaim her family's legacy, exposing buried truths in the process. Everyone applauded its daring tone and stunning production design, calling it Black Excellence meets primetime soap. But just as it was finding its groove, Fox abruptly canceled it after one season. The network cited low viewership, but fans argued that inconsistent scheduling and weak promotion doomed it from the start. The cancellation stung because Our Kind of People showcased something rarely seen on network television, a portrayal of generational black wealth and power. So instead of focusing on trauma, it highlighted achievement and status, while still acknowledging social divides within the community. Many viewers even compared it to Greenleaf and Empire, but more refined. Unfortunately, network hesitation toward niche black dramas sealed its fate. For viewers, it didn't just show black success, it showed its complexity, and that alone made it too special to disappear so soon. Swagger was a hidden gem from Apple TV+. It was a coming-of-age sports drama inspired by Kevin Durant's youth basketball days. Created by Reggie Rock Bythewood, the series went beyond the court, exploring ambition, race, and morality in the cutthroat world of youth athletics. O'Shea Jackson Jr. starred as a devoted coach, guiding his players through life's pressures, while Isaiah Hill shined as the talented but conflicted prodigy Jace Carson. What made Swagger powerful wasn't just basketball, it was the humanity behind it. It portrayed young black boys as dreamers, thinkers, and sons, showing the sacrifices their families make to chase success. Each episode dug into social justice, inequality, and the price of chasing greatness in a system stacked against them. Some even compared it to Friday Night Lights for a new generation, but with a sharper edge and deeper cultural roots. When Apple canceled Swagger after 2 seasons in 2024, fans were devastated. The show had strong reviews, an active fan base, and a meaningful message. Bythewood's heartfelt goodbye post captured the pain perfectly. We launched careers, told stories we care about, and revolutionized the way we shoot basketball. Viewers agreed. It was more than a show. It was a statement. The loss of Swagger has certainly left a gap in sports storytelling, especially for young black audiences hungry for authentic representation. And whatever the priorities or intentions of streaming platforms going forward, shows like Swagger will always remain a symbol of the culture it portrayed, as it continues to inspire beyond the scoreboard. Raising Dion Netflix's Raising Dion gave audiences a rare gift, a superhero story centered on a black child and his mother. It is based on Dennis Liu's comic and short film. The show followed Nicole, played by Alicia Wainwright, a single mom raising her gifted son Dion, played by Josiah Young. Dion has somehow discovered he can manipulate energy and the elements. And throughout its run, this wasn't just about sci-fi. It was heart, hope, and black representation wrapped into one. From its debut in 2019, Raising Dion stood out for its warmth and imagination. It showed that being a hero isn't about superpowers. It's about family, resilience, and community. The special effects were impressive, but what really drew fans in was the emotional storytelling. Season 2 expanded the world, introduced new villains, and hinted at Dion's growing control of his powers. So, viewers were eager for more. Then came the announcement that Netflix had canceled it. Fans were surprised because the show had topped streaming charts and had strong engagement from family audiences. Netflix offered little explanation, and the decision sparked backlash online. Parents, kids, and critics alike called it a mistake that hurts progress. For many, Raising Dion wasn't just another show. It was proof that black children could be heroes too. It broke barriers in a genre long dominated by white leads. And that was probably the real reason it was axed. The Boondocks. Long before social media debates took over black culture, The Boondocks was already doing the work, loudly, cleverly, and fearlessly. Created by Aaron McGruder and based on his comic strip, the animated series followed the Freeman family, Huey, Riley, and Granddad. The trio had just moved from Chicago's South Side to a white suburban neighborhood, and what followed was sharp, satirical genius. Airing on Adult Swim from 2005 to 2014, The Boondocks dismantled everything from racial hypocrisy to celebrity culture. It made you laugh and think in the same breath. Huey's revolutionary insight, Riley's reckless energy, and Uncle Ruckus's self-hate formed a microcosm of Black America in conflict with itself. Episodes mocked the news, hip-hop, and politics, and these were often banned or pulled for being too honest. Over time, the show became a cultural touchstone, studied in classrooms and quoted across generations. Fans loved it because it spoke truth to power with animation that never flinched. So when the 22 reboot was canceled after years of anticipation, disappointment was universal. Voice actor Gary Anthony Williams, who played Uncle Ruckus, revealed that production delays and creative stalls ended it prematurely. In the end, The Boondocks proved that satire could be a revolutionary tool. Even off the air, its influence remains, its humor, its politics, and especially its daring voice. And ever since, no other cartoon has matched its balance of absurdity and truth. The Carmichael Show, before Abbott Elementary or Blackish, made headlines for mixing humor with commentary. The Carmichael Show was already there. Created by Jared Carmichael and airing on NBC from 2015 to 2010, it turned the traditional sitcom into a stage for real debate. Each episode tackled a hot-button issue and somehow made it funny and profound. From gun control, race, police brutality, and sexuality to politics. Set mostly in the Carmichael family's living room, the show used everyday conversations to dissect America's biggest problems. The cast included Carmichael, Loretta Devine, David Alan Grier, Amber Stevens West, and Lil Rel Howery, and they brought both warmth and fire to the script. Unlike most sitcoms, it wasn't afraid to leave audiences uncomfortable. Critics compared it to shows like All in the Family, but for a new generation. However, despite glowing reviews, NBC canceled it after 3 seasons in 2017. Executives claimed it was a mutual decision due to modest ratings, but fans believed the network simply didn't know how to handle a comedy that challenged audiences instead of pandering to them. Carmichael later admitted he preferred ending it before the show lost its honesty due to meddling. Today, The Carmichael Show is still remembered as a bold, brilliant experiment that opened the door for smarter, risk-taking Black sitcoms. It proved that comedy could spark conversation and debate both on-screen and off, and that truth can be just as entertaining as laughter. Apparently, these 14 show cancellations signal a pattern. When Black creativity pushes boundaries, it often gets cut short. Networks and streamers blame ratings, budgets, or strategy shifts. But the real reason is discomfort with stories that challenge stereotypes, celebrate complexity, or refuse to play safe. So when the next bold Black show premieres, watch it, share it, and talk about it, because attention is power. So which of these canceled shows do you believe deserved a second chance? Let's keep the conversation going in the comments section. And remember to subscribe to our channel for more content like this.